So Terry's gonna talk about the soil. What kind of soil we're using?
So there's different kind of type of soils. There are three main types of soil: sand, silt, and clay. The best soil for most plants to ensure optimum growth is a rich sand loam. This soil is an even mixture of all three main types of soil. In most cases, you need to amend the soil with compost. Soil are limited natural resource. They are considered rewardable because they are constantly forming. Thought this is true. Their formation occurs at extremely slow rates. In fact, one inch of topsoil can take several hundred years or more to develop. What do you what do soil do? Well, soil are amazing. Life as we know it will not exist without them, as they provide constantly services that benefits all humans. Clean air, water, the clothes on our backs, habitat and food for plants and animals are just a few things we can thank soil for. These goods and uh, services provided by soil are called a consistent service.
So here we have our soil. What is this one called?
That's a garden soil.
Garden soil, the one all purpose. So we can use this one.
Here, and we are going to mix it. The one we have here, and the soil, mix it, and then we are going to, after that, put the seeds inside. So, we have,
So I should talk about this. Okay.
okay, now I'm just going to talk about the things that what we need to use in order to mix. We are going to talk about the tools what we need to use in order to mix our soil. Okay.
So the first tool that we're going to use is going to be the gloves. So we have our gloves here, or we can use those gloves. But we have gloves here. These are for gardening. So while gardening can be a wonderful hobby, it can quickly turn into a thorny and splintery hassle without the right pair of gloves. Gloves should be durable but not too bulky, especially for working with seeds or transplanting seedlings. Fit is important, as poorly fitting gloves can cause blisters or result in accidents from slipping off. Fabrics that are water resistant but also breathable will help keep hands cool and comfortable. Longer cuffs protect wrists and forearms from scratches and keep soil from getting in. Store gloves out of sunlight, away from water, and safe from insects. Um, they are made of high-tech sport fabric that is water-resistant, breathable, and provide a form fit that has been described as a second skin. So you can buy. There's these certain ones that are called fox gloves. You can buy them on Amazon. So are we going to use these to plant the seeds?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Why not?
So Janet's going to put on these gloves so that she's able to plant them.
Now those gloves are more protected than this one. So the more prevent it's the gloves that Janet has right now.
You see that this is special material. So I'm going to put double, but you can just wear that this kind of gloves on. Okay, guys. So we are going to use the gloves like the what we need to use in the garden and bring the soil inside the pot. Okay. We are saving for our small pot that we have flowers there for you. Okay. So can you help me to mix it? And I'm going to use this. What is this?
So now we're gonna use another tool. This tool is going to be the rake.
That's the one that Terry is using right now to mix the soil. Thank you, Terry. And I use this tool.
I'm sorry, it's actually the garden fork. An efficient tool for turning soil. Garden forks can dig into dense soil better than a spade. Forks with a slight curve to the spines are useful for scooping mulch or turning compost, and they can help you haul hundreds of pounds.
Now make sure when you guys are mixing the soil, like you said, that you guys take out any trash or any that it doesn't belong to it.
Any rock, when we do the carrots, and they recommended the soil without rocks. What else we need, Auntie?
So right now you're using the shovel, right? The shovel is the one that you're using.
Mix it
Um,
very carefully with the other soil that we have here in. And I think we need a little water, no?
yes. So you're going to use the watering can. There are two basic types of watering cans. There's plastic or metal. There are hundreds of styles. There's colors and different sizes and nozzle options. So we have a green one here and it's plastic. Plastic cans can be lighter than metal but won't last as long. Metal cans should be galvanized to resist rusting. Consider the size of the can related to your strength. A gallon of water weighs just over 8 pounds. The handle position should allow you to carry a full can and also tip it to pour easily. Two handle designs allow for better stability for children or elderly gardeners. You may need two, a larger one with a sprinkler head for outdoors and a smaller long neck version for house plants. So we're using outdoors for gardening, so this one is perfect. So Janet's going to pour the water inside the soil.
I don't see one space. I put it around all the way so the soil is enough. The soil is enough to mix with the seeds inside. Okay? Soil with the one in the back.
Okay. So do we have any other tools that we're using?
This this one, spray the other one.
Uh-huh.
How about
You can use the water hose as well, but it wouldn't so you can use this called the watering one. So you can give your plants a gentle rain shower. So you want to put it maybe to like the lighter one, the shower one,
yes?
with the water breaking one. The
Okay.
extended reach is also helpful to get to out of the way containers, hanging plants, or the back edges of digging holes for plants, edging, lifting sod, and moving small mounds of dirt from one area to another. This tool can be more on the pricey side, but a good spade will last you the rest of your gardening life. So you're able to use this on even watering like the other plants. You don't have to use it just on the outside gardening. You can use it for inside as well.
I think it's enough, Terry. What do you think it's enough for the soil?
Yeah, for now it will be enough. But make sure you guys water the whatever you guys plant. Make sure you guys water it because otherwise, if you're not taking care of your plants or whatever you plant, it won't go. It won't grow up. So it will be a waste of time.
Yeah. Make sure you don't put too much water or a little water. Make sure the right amount of water for the plants you will plant or take care at home. Let me put this on.
All the garden things. So there's some other tools that you can use for gardening. We have a wheelbarrow. So if your backyard has extra soil to be moved around, compost or mulch that need to be added to the garden beds or any other heavy lifting and moving project, a wheelbarrow can help you haul hundreds of pounds. Traditional dual handle or single wheel styles can be harder to balance heavy or unevenly distributed loads. So the single-handled two-wheel models are easier to balance, better for those with limited strength or when pulling or over uneven terrain. Single-handled wheelbarrows can be pushed or pulled with one hand. Store it clean and dry to prevent rust. Keep the wheels inflated properly for easier wheeling. So if you're doing your gardening outside, you're doing a big garden, you can use a wheelbarrow. That will help out a lot. And then we also have a hand throw. The essential hand tool throws are wonderful for transplanting bedding plants and herbs, planting containers, and making out weeds. Select a broad blade to move more soil or long, narrow blade to dig up weeds or for rocky soil. The handle should fit comfortably in your hand. So they're made from stainless steel, or at least with a stainless steel head, are more durable and will last longer. How are you guys doing?
Try to put in enough water to prepare our soil for the seeds that we have.
Try to dip it in because the water has to go all the way through the soil. Otherwise, on the top it will be only water, and on the bottom will be so dry. So we need to help the soil to get the water through.
So we are
So
we
they're digging in and making sure that the water is going through the whole soil and not just the top part because it needs to go inside as well so that the seeds will be able to be growing.
Now, not only planting things on the soil like flowers, fruit, vegetables, anything that you plant, you guys have to take care. It's not a person, but it's the same thing as taking care of a person. You guys have to do it like taking care of them and even talk to them because they have feelings too.
Got to make sure they get enough sunlight. You're watering them. You got to take care of them every day.
Why all my friends are I'm sorry, I need to get the microphone. While all my friends are preparing the soil here in the garden, I'm going to talk about some of the seeds that we have and where is the best moment to do the gardening, to put the seeds in our big pot, okay? Listen, tomatoes that we have here, tomatoes, we have also a pot here, tomato pot here, and seeds. Tomatoes run on warm plant in late spring and early summer, so it's a good time right now to put our tomatoes seeds there. For a head start on growing plants, start plants instead of seeds, both. So we can buy a plant and put it here or put the seeds there. So, and the best time, remember, the best time to do it is in the morning. In the morning, like I said, they can transplant plants to the garden. After growing here, we can put in a big garden. Okay, so the best time, like I said, is at this time. Now I'm going to talk about carrots. My carrot seeds fly someplace. I get it right now. The carrot seeds. So carrots grow best in a cool temperature of early spring and late fall. So also we are on time to do that, especially in the night temperatures of 55 degrees Fahrenheit or day temperatures of 75 degrees are the best for carrots. But high temperatures, they give it a poor color and low quality of carrots. So we have to have a good temperature for our carrots. Okay, so for that, the importance of good soil. That's then my friends are working in that. Proper soil preparation is extremely important for carrots growing. Is the carrot root can easily grow and obstruct. So we have to make sure we're looking for no small rocks or something that interrupt the growing of the carrots. Also, um, ground coffee help. Okay, don't forget that. Now I'm going to talk about. Oh, finally, do not expect to get a perfectly straight grocery carrots like you see. So in this case, it's going to grow in different shapes. But in the final is carrots. And who carrots in the salad? So that's the important things I wanted to tell you. Another seed that we have is the onions. You can plant onions from now until January for harvest from May through July, depending on the variety of onions. But this one is perfect to play. Now, the other seeds that we have is watermelon. When to plant watermelon? We can transplant all direct seeds from May through June. So it's another seed that we are on time to do that. Watermelon. For best result, wait until daytime temperatures 75 degrees and the soil temperature 70 degrees. So they warm climates like Texas, California, planting time for watermelons. Okay? And then the last one, we have varieties of flowers that we are going to put in these beautiful pots. We have Zinnia mix, we have Summer Bouquet right here. Like we are going to take some of the soil from there to put in our pots. And also we have the Dutch Irish Holland flowers. Seeds for cool season flowers can be sowed directly into the ground during April, May. So we are in time too. So we can do indoor or outdoor. Okay, so now I think we already have our soil. We
We're going to start planting the tomatoes.
are going to put different kinds of vegetable seeds here. We prepare already our labels, so we can put the label in separate that says this is tomatoes. Put it right in where the tomatoes are.
Yeah, so we're labeling so we know where they're at so we don't plant any seeds around them. Which one should we do next?
How about carrots? Well, we have tomatoes. How about carrots? Where the carrots plant? Oh, here is the carrots. Can we do carrots?
So you want the carrots on the same side, or can you do them on this side? On this one.
But because you just put it this side, we can put it here, the
Yeah.
carrots in the middle.
Okay.
Can I have this scoop?
Yeah. So now we're going to plant the carrots.
I think we should put a little bit more over there because the roots will grow and it makes a
Oh,
space
the
for each.
carrots.
Yeah.
Oh, you say that
Like
carrots
right
right here?
when they start growing, and it's a plenty of space for the tomatoes to grow and the
Good
whatever.
idea. So let me remove the soil in the middle and, and prepare the hole here for the carrots.
We need more water.
Yeah, it's too dry.
Jana's going to add more water.
Yeah, because we cannot dip it.
It's pretty dry on that side.
Yeah, it's way too hard.
Yeah.
We should have did it yesterday.
Sorry guys, we try to put soft our soil so the seed can be go through there. Okay, thank you. Okay, now the carrots. Angie.
You want to put the carrots in now?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to put the carrot seeds inside.
Yep.
Let me try this. We need something hard to.
Oh, that's a nice tool. Perfect. Let me put a shower thing.
Gotta lose this soil. There you go.
Okay, our soil is ready for carrots. Okay.
Pretty good.
Now we need to dip it in so we can put our, what is it?
Carrot
Carrots.
seeds inside.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Try to dip it in so we can put them all the way in on the bottom.
Okay, I put it on the other side. So we're expecting our carrots. So I'm going to put cover with soil and put the name so we don't confuse tomatoes with carrots. Take care. Okay, so here is the name right there. How about in the middle we can do the onion? What do you think?
Yeah, we could do onions as well in the middle. We're gonna have to dig one.
Right here?
Yes,
here.
maybe like
Yeah.
a
It's gonna
two
spread all the.
or three holes so we can put the.
Sorry. Sorry. You want me to do really hard? Yeah.
I have a little experience on there.
See that wool, the onion wool. We're going to plant in there. Do you need water or is it's okay?
It might need a little bit water because the soil is too dry from the bottom.
So we are going to put the little bowl inside our soil. Terry already prepared the soil. So we're going to add a little bit of water. Okay, guys?
I think that would be enough.
I think it's enough for
Yeah.
now. Okay. Good. Go inside soil. One,
They're cute.
two. Going to be separate, guys. Three,
That's too close to the tomatoes, Jenny.
four. Right here. Okay, this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now one more.
Oh, just one more in there. There we go. All right. Do you have the sign for the onions?
Ooh, onions are right here.
So are we adding any other
It has
vegetables in here?
watermelons, guys. I don't know if we can put in the corner.
We put in the corner? Or how about on this one?
Perfect. Because need more space.
Yeah.
Good idea, Angie. So we can put some soil there. Sorry, Terry. Looks so nice. Thank you, guys. A little soil.
We're gonna add some soil onto this gardening.
Thank you, Angie. Let's use the rag to move the
Move the soil around.
Sorry for my bag, everybody. We are going to mix it. Oh,
I think we should be good. Soil.
think it's fine.
Yeah, I think we got enough water.
So our seeds of watermelon there. Now, here, Terry, can you help me? So we are going to put it watermelon seeds.
More water. Yeah.
We're gonna add a little bit more water.
And we need to put our side. Don't mix with other ones. So watermelon separate with the other ones. Going right there.
There you go.
So we finished with the watermelon. Another one? Okay. Got one more. Okay. Our watermelons
It's inside.
So, like we said early, we have also some seeds here that we can add a little bit of soil and planting of flowers. You know, flowers beautiful all the time, beautiful for our house, the garden at home. So we can do some. Can you help me?
Yeah.
What is this food?
And it should be okay.
I think no, a little bit more.
More?
Can I have this too? Okay. So we can put some of these is Irish Holland flowers. You can put it there to make it grow and make nice flowers. You can put some what?
The one that I'm gonna do is the zinnia mix, the flower.
This is the Irish Holland, right?
I'm gonna use this one.
You have to put in make like in the middle here and put it there and cover with more soil. Yes. And cover with more soil.
Okay.
And then I put it water. There you go.
Okay.
Now I'm going to put the water and now we are going to do the third one, the summer bouquet, please. For the summer bouquet.
I don't know if she took
Oh, okay.
this one.
So
The summer bouquet. So you just put it in there?
yeah,
Make one. Put it in there and fill it up with more soil. So grab a little bit more. There we go. We add some water.
yes, more water. Okay.
What's the next one?
I think we're done. We can put
Done?
this one over here. So
Okay.
see how wonderful we did. We did some gardening today. We learned something about soil, the time what the seeds can be using, and how take care our beautiful gardens. So make sure you guys it's no water every day. You have to water every other day. Depends what kind of plant do you have. Okay, and it's not a lot of water, just enough to give it uh, absorb the roots. Okay, and then if you have this like that and you want to put in your big garden, you can transplant too. When the plants grow, not right now. When the plants grow, you can transplant this one to a big garden. So thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
guys for
joining
joining
us.
us today. I hope you guys learned something, and we'll be planting some veggies and fruit and flowers soon. It's the best time.
Thank you and happy Wednesday.
We'll
See you guys tomorrow for our next
Bye.
video.
where we have Grace waiting graciously in the garden. We're making our way your way, Grace.
Oh, there you go.
Hello. Oh, would you like me
How
to
are
mic
you,
up?
Grace?
Good.
Okay. Would you like to
Here.
have it on?
I'm on TV. Good afternoon, clients and friends. I'm going to read you a little shorter story than I had planned, I believe. So we'll just see how it goes, because I'm going to tell you right now, this book of children's stories that Carrie brought, I would not read any of these to any children, but I will try to make them happier stories for you. Because everybody doesn't have to have a terrible fate. And this story is, oh, that was too long too. No? It's okay. It is about the sleeping beauty in the wood, which I believe is they're talking about what the person we know as Sleeping Beauty. So it said there were formerly a king and a queen who were so sorry that they had no children. So sorry that I cannot even tell you how sad it was. And they went to all the waters in the world. They made vows, they made pilgrimages, anything they tried, and none of that caused them to be able to have a child. But at last, the queen had a daughter. There was a very fine christening, and the princess had for her godmother all of the fairies they could find in the whole kingdom. They found 7. And every one of them might give her a gift. That's why they got so many. And because customarily the fairies would give a gift if somebody made their child and saw they're the fairy godmother, but they called up 7 people because they thought they'd get more gifts that way. And after the ceremonies of the christening was all over, the people all returned to the king's palace, where they had prepared a great feast for the fairies. Yum. And there was placed before every one of them a magnificent box made of gold. And inside the box were a spoon, a knife, and a fork, all made of pure gold, set with diamonds and rubies. They're going to eat off that. But as they were all sitting down at the table, they saw come into the hall a very old fairy, whom they had not invited because since it was about 50 years since they last time they saw her, they thought she must either be dead or enchanted. So they didn't count on her. The king ordered her one of those fancy boxes, but could not furnish her with one right while she was sitting there, because they had 7 made for the 7 fairies. So the old fairy thought she was slighted and kind of muttered some threats between her teeth. You know, when people go, one of the fairies who sat by her heard how she grumbled, and judging by that, she thought that the princess might get a not good gift from that fairy. So she hid herself in the coat closet behind the coats so that she could be the last one to make a blessing on the baby. And she thought that way, if the fairy that was mad, gave her something bad, that she could maybe help out a little bit. So in the meanwhile, all the fairies began to give their gifts to the princess. The youngest gave her a gift that she should be the most beautiful person in the world. The next said that she should have the wit, which is like smartness, of an angel. The third said that she should have a wonderful grace in everything she did. Well, I could hang out by her. That's all I got. And the fourth said she would be able to dance perfectly well. Well, that's cool. You guys remember them dancing for the International Dance Day, so she could have helped us out with that, right? The fifth one said she should sing like a nightingale. And the sixth said that she should play all kinds of musical instruments to perfection. So she's going to be a very well rounded, well loved person. Now the old fairy's turn was coming up, and she was kind of like, shaking. But it was really not so much that she's old, so she's shaking, but she was like, in a bad mood. So she said that where the princess should have her hand pierced with a spindle and die from that. This terrible gift made the whole company tremble, and everyone started crying. At this very instant, the young fairy came out that was hiding, and she said these words aloud: "Assure yourselves, O king and queen, that your daughter shall not die in this disaster. It is true, I have no power to undo what my older sister has done, but the deed will not kill the princess. Instead of dying, she shall only fall into a profound sleep, which shall last 100 years. And at that time, a king's son, which would be a prince, shall come and awaken her. The king, to avoid the misfortune foretold by the old fairy, caused an immediate proclamation to be made. And he said that everyone was forbidden to spin with a distaff and spindle, which is how they used to take the cotton or the wool and make it into yarn. And it did have a little pointy thing at the top. And so he said, nope, those are outlawed. Nobody can have those anymore. Sorry. And so that seemed fine, and everything went well until she was about 15 or 16 years old. And the king and the queen went off to, have an evening of fun. And the young princess happened to, be having fun by running up and down the stairs and stuff. And then they have like a lot of rooms in the palace, of course. And she came into a room at the top of the tower that she hadn't ever seen before. And there was an old woman there spinning with her spindle. I guess she didn't get that memo. This good woman had never heard of the king's proclamation against spindles. "What are you doing there, goody?" the princess said. The princess, I guess goody's like a nice term for an older person. "What are you doing there?" said the princess. "I am spinning, my pretty child," said the woman, who did not know that she was the princess. "Oh," said the princess, "this is very pretty. How do you do it? Give it to me so that I can see if I can do it too." As she no sooner grabbed a hold of the spindle than she pierced her hand with the spindle as it was proclaimed, and she fell down in a swoon. But she did not die. Remember, the nice last fairy sent a message, so she would not be dead, but sleep for 100 years. Now, the old woman who did not know about all this, and she's like, "Oh my God, help me, help me." People came from everywhere, and lots of people came. They threw water on the princess' face. They unlaced her corset that was really tight so you could breathe better. They struck her on the palms of her hands, like, "Hey, wake up, wake up!" But nothing would bring her back. Now the king, who heard all the noise and had come home, thought of himself the prediction of the fairies, and judging very well that this must necessarily come to pass, in 100 years, uh, he said, since the fairies had said it, caused the princess to be carried to the finest apartment in the castle and put her upon a bed all embroidered with silver and gold. So they made a really nice spot for her. And it said one would have taken her for a little angel. She was so beautiful. For her swooning away, oh, had not diminished one bit of her complexion. Her cheeks were carnation pink and her lips were coral red. Indeed, her eyes were shut, but she was heard to breathe softly, which satisfied those about her that she was not dead. So the king commanded that they should not disturb her, but let her sleep quietly until her hour of awakening was come. So the good fairy, who had saved her life by condemning her to sleep 100 years, which is way better than dying, right? She was in the kingdom of Matakin, 12,000 leagues off. Wow, that's a little ways. When the accident befell the princess, but she was instantly informed by a little dwarf who had boots of 7 leagues. That is, boots with which he could tread over 7 leagues of ground in one stride. He's making a big long step there. And he got to her right away and told her about it. And the king handed her out of, and so I'm sorry. The fairy came away immediately. She came back to the palace, and she got there in about an hour, which I guess is pretty good for 100 leagues. And she came back, and she was in a fiery chariot drawn by dragons. I guess that's how she got back in an hour. The king handed her out of the chariot. I believe that means he took her hand and carried her, helped her out, and she approved of everything that had been done, and that they thought that she had very great foresight that the princess should awake. But then they were thinking, well, geesh, we're all going to be gone in 100 years when she wakes up. So what are we going to do? She's going to wake up. She's going to be all alone. Maybe nobody's even around then. So this is what the fairy did. She touched her with her wand, and everything in the palace, except the king and queen, governesses, maids of honor, ladies of the bedchamber, gentlemen, officers, stewards, cooks, undercooks, scullions, whoever they are, and guards with their beef eaters. If you've ever seen the British people with the red suits and a big white collar around, those are called beef eaters. They are soldiers. And let's see, what did she do with them? Footmen, those are the people that take care of the horses. She touched also the horses, were in the stables, and the great dogs in the outward court, and pretty little Mopsy too, the princess's little cocker spaniel, which laid by her on the bed. And immediately upon touching them, they all fell asleep, that they might not waken before their mistress, and that they might be ready to wait upon her when she wanted them. So let's see, she did that to everyone except for the king and the queen. So everyone will be ready. All this was done in a moment. Those fairies, they can be quick. And because fairies are not long in doing their business. And now the king and queen, having kissed their dear child without waking her, went out of the palace and put forth a proclamation that no one should dare come near it. This, however, was not necessary, for in a quarter hour's time, I think this might be some fairy doing, there grew up all around the park of around the palace such a vast number of trees, great and small, bushes and brambles, twining one within another, that neither man nor beast could pass through. So nothing could be seen but the very top of the towers of the palace, and that too, not unless it was a good way off, you could maybe see it. So nobody doubted, but the fairy had given extraordinary sample of her fairy artwork, that the princess, while she continued sleeping, might have nothing to fear from any curious people. When 100 years were gone and past, well, yeah, that went by quickly. The son of the king, who was then reigning that area, and who was of another family of that from the sleeping princess, was gone hunting on that side of the country, and he asked, whose towers are over there? As he saw the towers, and they're in the middle of a thick wood. And everyone answered according to what they had heard. Some said that it was a ruinous old castle haunted by spirits. Others said that the sorcerers and witches of the country kept that place for their evil meetings. The common opinion was that an ogre lived there, and that he carried thither all the little children he could catch, and that he might eat them up. So obviously they're not letting their kids play over there. And so they left that guy alone. That's what they figured that was happening. That the prince was at a stand. I'm not sure what to believe, he thought. And then a very aged countryman spoke to him and said, "May it please your royal highness, it is now about 50 years since I heard from my father, who heard from my grandfather, that this a castle with a princess, the most beautiful princess that anyone had ever seen, and that she was going to sleep there for 100 years, but she should be waken up only by a king's son. Then she was being reserved as a word, held for the king's son." And he's like, "Hey, I'm a king's son." So the young prince was all on fire at these words. He was, hey, I got to get in there. I got to put an end to this adventure. And he decided that he loved this princess, even though he hadn't met her. And by love and honor, he resolved at that moment to get in there. So as soon as he headed towards those big brambly woods that are keeping everybody out, the trees, the bushes, and the brambles all moved out of his way, made a path for him. And then he walked up to the castle, which he saw at the end of a large road, and he went in. And what a little surprise there was for him that none of his people could follow, because after he went through, the trees all went back. So he came into the courtyard, and he passed a great court paved with marble, and went upstairs and came to the guard chamber, where the guards were all standing and snoring as loud as they could. So he went past them, and then he went into a chamber all gilded with gold, and he saw a princess. To be about 15 or 16, and she was the most beautiful princess anyone had ever seen. He approached. He was kind of shaking, not out of meanness like that fairy, kind of shaking. And he said, "Well, now what do I do?" And he fell down before her upon his knees. And that was the end of the enchantment. The princess awakened, looked at him with eyes more tender than the first view, and said, "Is it you, my prince? You have waited a long while." The prince was charmed, and he assured that he loved her more than he did themselves. So they forgot about all the bad things that happened, took advantage of all of the people that now woke up to take care of the castle, and they agreed that they would get married and that they would live in the palace with all of the servants and help, and they were going to live happily ever after. So you see, a prince is a good thing if you can get him to wake you up. I'd like that. Somehow it's usually the cat jumping on my head. I must live the wrong life. Thank you for listening to the story of the Sleeping Beauty in the Wood. And hopefully you guys can tomorrow and we'll have more fun. Thank you, Carmen, for your help.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, am I on? No.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, so you can see we're all done. And Gracie, thank you so much for always being there helping out. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye.